Welcome to Hardly. Each book is distilled into 3 stories, giving you the key ideas in minutes. Today, we listen. Stephen A. Silbiger's The 10-Day MBA, a step-by-step guide to mastering the skills taught at America's top business schools, in which we probe into how simplifying complex business concepts enables anyone to gain essential MBA knowledge without the full-time commitment. Stephen A. Silbiger, MBA, CPA, is the Chief Marketing Officer and co-founder of Top Dog Direct. Don't go away. Hurdley, the editor, will be right back with the story. Our journey begins with a young manager named Lisa, working for a mid-sized tech company. Lisa was given a challenging task: to lead the launch of a new product line, something she had never done before. Her boss, however, assumed she was up for the challenge, and there was no turning back. The only problem? Lisa had no formal business education, let alone an MBA. Her colleagues, many of whom had prestigious degrees, used jargon and business frameworks she could barely comprehend. During her first project meeting, she felt overwhelmed, watching everyone analyze the market and customer segmentation in ways she had never been taught. But Lisa wasn't one to back down. She found a guide that condensed essential business knowledge into clear, digestible bits. One of the lessons that stood out was understanding the 4 P's of marketing: product, price, place, and promotion. With this new framework, Lisa began to see how each piece of the puzzle connected. She learned that effective marketing isn't just about creativity, but about integrating all these elements cohesively. When her team struggled to align on pricing, Lisa suggested, "Let's revisit the value proposition and compare it with our competitors." This simple comment, based on what she had learned, shifted the conversation, and the team was able to develop a stronger marketing strategy. The lesson for Lisa was that simplifying complex ideas makes them more actionable. Instead of getting lost in theories, breaking down business concepts like the 4 P's gave her the clarity to tackle real-world problems. For others in similar situations, understanding key marketing principles and how they interact can help you lead with confidence in any project. From Lisa's triumph, we move to Chris, a finance officer at a manufacturing firm who faced a different challenge. Chris was tasked with improving the company's financial planning process, but he felt like he was in over his head. The CFO had mentioned terms like NPV, net present value, and cash flow projections in a recent meeting, concepts Chris had only vaguely encountered during his undergraduate years. He knew the firm's growth depended on these financial tools, but he had no idea how to apply them in practice. One evening, while going over company figures, Chris recalled a framework he'd read about: how MBA students evaluate investment opportunities using NPV. It's all about forecasting future returns and comparing them to today's investment, he remembered. That night, Chris worked on simplifying the complex spreadsheets he'd been handed, focusing on projected cash flows. The next morning, he presented his simplified model to the CFO. "By concentrating on NPV, I can show the most profitable long-term investments," Chris explained. The CFO, impressed with his approach, gave him the green light to proceed. For Chris, simplifying the financial jargon gave him control over the conversation and a clear strategy to work with. His experience teaches us that mastering essential finance principles doesn't require a full-time MBA. It requires focusing on the core concepts and applying them pragmatically. As Chris's company began seeing positive results from their new financial plan, we find ourselves with Sarah, a project manager at an international company struggling with team dynamics. Her company was expanding into new markets, and suddenly, she was managing teams across multiple continents. Sarah's team was struggling to keep up with the new organizational changes, and conflicts were brewing among different cultural groups. With no formal background in organizational behavior, Sarah felt her leadership skills were being tested. It was in an old business guide where Sarah found the solution, something called organizational behavior, OB. She learned that successful team management depends on understanding people's motivations and behavior. Sarah realized that what her team lacked wasn't technical expertise, but clear communication and empathy. She decided to implement the equity theory she had come across, which explained how individuals value fairness in the workplace. During her next team meeting, instead of focusing on deadlines, she asked everyone to share how they felt about the workload and whether they believed tasks were being distributed fairly. The shift was immediate. Discussions became more open, and conflicts started to resolve. For Sarah, understanding the human side of business gave her the tools to navigate complex team dynamics. It's not always about knowing the most complicated theories, but using the right ones to improve relationships and productivity. The thread linking Lisa's marketing strategy, Chris's financial planning, and Sarah's team management is the ability to distill complicated business ideas into simple, actionable insights. Each of these stories reflects how boiling down complex theories and jargon can make them accessible, whether you're dealing with marketing, finance, or leadership. In Lisa's case, understanding the 4 Ps of marketing gave her clarity. For Chris, it was realizing the importance of NPV in decision-making. And for Sarah, the human-focused insights from organizational behavior helped her lead a diverse, global team. The takeaway from all of these stories? Business concepts don't have to be daunting. By breaking them into smaller, practical components, anyone, whether they have an MBA or not, can apply them to solve real challenges. Simplifying doesn't mean dumbing down. It means making these ideas usable and relevant in everyday business life. As the editor of Hardly, understanding these principles prepares us to tackle challenges in our own work with a clearer, more confident perspective, empowering us to lead with insight rather than fear. Each story comes from the most representative real-life cases selected by the Hardly team from this book. If you wish to dive deeper, we recommend purchasing the full book. The key lesson from this book is clear. Simplifying complex business concepts enables anyone to gain essential MBA knowledge without the full-time commitment. Consider the case of James, a product manager who was struggling to make sense of supply chain issues that were halting production at his company. Every time a problem occurred, the technical jargon used by his operations team left him feeling out of depth. After diving into a section on operations in a business guide, James discovered a simplified approach to supply chain management, focusing on bottleneck analysis. Armed with this understanding, he gathered his team and pinpointed the exact stage where delays were happening. By addressing that one bottleneck, the team reduced production downtime by 20%. James didn't need to become an expert in operations. He just needed to understand the key concepts that made a difference. This story, like the others, highlights that mastering core business principles doesn't require a prestigious degree. What it takes is breaking down sophisticated ideas into manageable, practical solutions. The knowledge gained through this approach allows you to tackle real business problems with confidence and competence, regardless of your educational background. As the editor of Hardly, by learning these principles, we prepare ourselves to make smarter decisions and unlock new opportunities in both our professional and personal lives.